But about a decade ago, this began to change. A new kind of reporter came onto the scene, one totally uninterested in even seeming to be balanced. These were not just liberals, they were activists. They'd gone to college and taken out massive student loans to obtain journalism degrees with the express purpose of overthrowing what they viewed as an unjust society, America. Their extreme left-wing opinionated journalism pulled the American left with it. In fact, it would be more accurate to say that the Democratic Party is an arm of the mainstream media establishment than vice versa. These days, the tail seems to wag the dog. Although I think of mainstream media journalists as little better than public relations flacks and ad men for the Democratic Party, it is probably more accurate to view the Democrats as terrified hostages to a media run amok and suffering a massive case of Stockholm Syndrome. One thing is for certain. I went into my chairmanship of the House Oversight Committee thinking that there must be some good and true journalists out there willing to engage with objective ideas and clear evidence. I have now arrived at the point where I know the mainstream media to be beyond reform and the enemy of most everything I hold dear, especially the truth. Of course, there is still a subgroup of decent journalists, and I'm thankful for them every day as we try to get the message out. Those are generally on the right-leaning and conservative side of news and opinion. I hate to say it, but these good people are thin on the ground, and they do not control the dissemination of information in anything like the totalitarian manner of their left-wing contemporaries. The mainstream media rule the narrative as of today, and you can be sure that always, every time and everywhere, their goal is to further the interests of the left and of the Democratic Party. They are the fleas who have eaten up the dog. So don't wonder how the Bidens got away with it. Wonder that the truth is making any inroads in the narrative at all. But let me assure you, we'll keep fighting. For a long time, the mainstream media thought they had everything sewn up nice and neatly for Joe Biden. Let's take a look at the storyline they had carefully crafted with a cloud of misdirection and magical Democrat gaslighting dust, with fake media narratives. 1. Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. 51 former intelligence officials signed a letter saying so. The creation of that letter, we learned, had been secretly led by Antony Blinken. But never mind that. These august intelligence has-beens, who were curiously mostly left-wing Democrats and Trump haters, stated in orotund prose that the laptop had all the makings of a Russian disinformation campaign to propel Donald Trump's re-election. The mainstream media took the letter, mixed it with a dollop of Rudy Giuliani drama, and ran with it for all it was worth. Social media companies joined in and suppressed the New York Post story that accurately described the laptop and its damaging contents. All of this was enough to discredit the laptop long enough for Biden to take the election. Hunter Biden's laptop was determined to be legitimate after CBS conducted a forensic audit in early 2023, I'll discuss this at length later, and in the lawsuit that Hunter filed against John Paul MacIsaac, his computer laptop repair store owner, whom he accused of improperly sharing the contents of his laptop. And finally, when the Garland Department of Justice announced it had used it as evidence in Hunter Biden's June 2024 conviction of lying on a gun application. Ironically, Hunter Biden committed perjury during his deposition when he was asked by Representative Matt Gaetz if he dropped off his laptop at MacIsaac's store. He said no. Of course, at that time he was well into a lawsuit with MacIsaac in which he accused MacIsaac of mishandling the laptop contents. That is, the contents of the laptop that he dropped off there for repair and never picked up. Here's proof that when you lie so many times in so many ways, it is often difficult to keep track of which false trail of deceit you've gone down at any particular time. 2. The Biden family were legitimate international entrepreneurs, just like the Trumps and Kushners. In the media's never